Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective. Happy Thursday. We're back with things to think on Thursday. So let's start with our morning mantras. We're on our last card. I know, it's the last one. That was a lot. Look at all that. Look at all that. We did all these. We did all those already. And I love it, the little coffee cup. I think I'll revisit this one from time to time, but we'll make our way to a new deck. And, but firstly, that's cute, little puffer fish. Setting boundaries doesn't make me a jerk. Setting boundaries prevents me from becoming a jerk. So again, setting boundaries doesn't make me a jerk. Setting boundaries prevents me from becoming a jerk. So basically what they're saying is a lot of times when we don't set boundaries, we end up sometimes unintentionally taking on the attributes of people who may not be in the best places mentally. And I don't mean that. I mean in the sense like hurt people, and then we kind of pick up those bad habits and they kind of become ours, right? But also when we don't set boundaries, a lot of times we let people take advantage of us to the point where we just lose our ever-loving minds, and then maybe we lash out. Maybe we kind of think, hey, that's it. I'm not going to take any more of your crap, blah, 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 blah. So I really like that one. Setting boundaries it can be a very, very wonderful thing. It's not selfish. It's necessary. It's like self-care, right? It's not selfish. It's necessary. So again, setting boundaries doesn't make me a jerk. Setting boundaries prevents me from being a jerk. So, yeah, I like that one. That's a good one. Good one. Words to live by. Words to live by. So, I've been thinking the last few days about the Aloha perspective, and I was thinking there's some things I saw on Twitter this morning that really made me kind of think and make my mind jog, and I thought, if the Aloha perspective is going to be something like a little bit of something and a whole lot of everything, which was my tagline when I used to have my blog SoCal Shell, which has turned into something completely different, Shell on the Moment, but .com. I really got to work on that website. But yeah, I was thinking if I really, really want to make it a little bit of something and a whole lot of everything, we need to move into more broader subject, just more everyday things, things that we all kind of think of. The last couple of years have really been an experiment of, well, not an unintentional experiment in how I've been moving through my healing journey. And a lot of times when you come out of trauma, or when you've healed your trauma, or you're starting to heal your trauma, you tend to overshare. And it's not always, but a lot of times it's just because now you feel like you have someone to listen, so you're trying to get as much out as possible. And that's my perspective. This is my perspective only. Everybody's different, but I do notice that a lot of people do overshare when they have their traumas, because it's like you finally feel like you're being heard, like you're being seen. And when you feel that, you're not sure how long you're going to have that. So you do your best to just kind of blah, 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 spill everything out ASAP just to get it all out. But then you notice that when you do that, wow, it starts to feel better. Like you're getting all this stuff that you have just internalized for years and years and years out of your system, just poofing it out, just letting it go. And so I thought about that, and I thought, you know what, that was a good thing. And we will cover mental health stuff, because I do my best to be a good mental health advocate. We're going to get more into the body positivity, and don't let me lose you there. Whether you're thick or thin, people struggle with body positivity at any size. So we'll cover more of that too. But I just wanted to get into other things as well, like things that we might think of that we don't really give much thought to. And I know that sounds weird, like things we think of but we don't give much thought to. And by that I mean like these fleeting thoughts, right? Like, why this, why that? Oh well. And then we just move on. But what if we did pay attention to it? What if we did think about, why some of our behaviors are the way they are, why we view things in a certain way, why we don't feel certain ways about certain things like other people do. And it's not necessarily about interests and likes and all this stuff, or having, similar interests with other people. What it's about is finding that passion within ourselves, something that brings us joy, something that makes us excited, right? So I thought about this last night as I was falling asleep, or well, actually, before I should say before I went to sleep. I was falling asleep, but I hadn't quite gotten into bed yet. And I thought, well, I'm going to journal. But I ended up not journaling. Instead, this thought really hit me. So yesterday I was watching, I love The Big Bang Theory. It's one of my favorite shows. It was one of my favorite shows when it was on air, and I like to catch the reruns. And a lot of times the reruns are just background noise for me, or just kind of, where I start to think, and, you can just kind of venture off into other thoughts because you've seen that episode. But every so often, one will hit you square in the eyes. Like maybe it's something that you're going through. And I know a lot of people are thinking it's a TV show. Sure, it is. But what do I always say? And for anybody new that might be on the Aloha perspective, I'll always say that signs come from everywhere. Knowledge comes from everywhere. From movies, TV, music. Maybe you're sitting at a restaurant by yourself and you're eating, or you're waiting for your food, and you hear people having a conversation, and it just may be what you need to hear in that moment. And to me, that's divine timing. That's being in the right place at the right time for the message that you are meant to hear, regardless of where it's coming from. And, for as many times as I've seen this one episode, I was like, wow, okay, so now this time it's actually hitting me. It's actually making me think something and feel like it's more than just a TV show. The message is actually hitting me this time. So on Tuesday I had therapy, and my therapist suggested, I talk about the monkeys in the barrel all the time, right? Those little crazy monkeys that get loose and just wreak havoc in my brain. And, she keeps telling me, you're getting better, you're there. But we're still going through this because I think she's waiting for me to know that I'm there. And I thought, okay, she's like, maybe it's time for the circus to leave town. Circuses don't stay forever. They eventually move on. And she wasn't wrong. And it's almost like I was holding onto these barrel of monkeys because they're comfortable. And sometimes we have to get comfortable being uncomfortable in order to move forward. So I have to tell you, to me, Chuck Lorre's a genius. It's like he's just in my head going, okay, this is something Shelley needs to hear, which is not true, of course. But it's just a lot of the subject matters that come up in a variety of his shows are things that I think we all deal with on a daily basis. So in this particular episode of Big Bang, Penny struggles. Okay, I'm going to read my notes because I was really tired when I wrote this down. So Penny struggles to be passionate about something and then realize she's waiting for all her dreams to come true and missing out on the now. And so Penny is one of the main characters on Big Bang Theory for anyone who hasn't watched it. It's a great show. You should really watch it. It's really funny. But I was thinking about that, and I thought, how many of us do that? How many of us do that? I mean, I know I do. Sometimes I just feel like, you don't feel like you can celebrate, right? Until that big moment happens. Or you can't be passionate about something because the thing you're passionate about hasn't happened yet. But what about the now? I mean, the whole point is that, Penny and Leonard are watching his favorite show. He's super excited about it. He's passionate about it. She doesn't get it. Then she shows it to one of her friends, who's also part of the group. And she's like, yeah, how can you not love it? It's like it's, if they were watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So, it's like, how can you not like it? And she's like, I don't know. So as she's talking with him over dinner, she sits there and says, I had all these things, but then she realized what she is passionate. She's passionate about their relationship. And so she starts to get excited about that, and she starts to move into that direction of feeling. And it got me to thinking, how many of us are not living in our present moment? How many of us, I'm so sorry, my head is draining after all these wins. How many of us are not living in the present moment? How many of us are living so far into our future that we forget we're right here in the now? And we're missing all these wonderful moments around us because we're so busy waiting for everything to happen. It hit me between the eyes because I realized I do that. I keep waiting for all these wonderful things to happen. I keep thinking about all these wonderful things to happen. But what I'm missing is what's here now. What I'm missing is what's going on around me now. How do I spark that passion? How do we spark that passion? If you're feeling like you are just lost in your emotions, if you're feeling like you're just like, yeah, I got nothing to be passionate about. Think about all the things that you are passionate about. I mean, it's just 4 months until Comic-Con. Actually, less than that. It's 3 months. Little over 3 months. And I'm excited because that's my thing every year. It's something I get very passionate about. It's something I get excited about, and seeing some of my friends that I only see during Comic-Con. And so I thought, why don't we be passionate about something? Why don't we find something, just in our lives right now? I thought about like all these different analogies, like these people that save these bottles of champagne for that one moment, right? That big moment. But why do we do that? I mean, I get it. Sometimes it's incentive. Sometimes it's, yeah, I'm working towards this one thing and I got to have this one thing. And, when we get there, we get there. But you can still buy a bottle of champagne when that amazing thing happens. You go to the store and you revel in that moment, and just instead of just having this bottle already sitting there going, yeah, let's pop it open now. And there's nothing wrong with that. But what if it's because we're holding this bottle of champagne for no particular reason than other this big thing that's happened in your life? And you're like, oh, hey, well, here's the thing. What if your favorite team beats this other team that you just don't like? And you're like, let's celebrate. You're having this great moment. And you look at that bottle of champagne saying, nope, that's for something amazing. Your team could have just won a championship. You're like, nope, that's for something bigger. But we're bypassing all these wonderful moments. We're literally telling ourselves that this bottle of champagne is not worth this moment in time because it's not my dream. Now, I'm telling you, if you grew up in San Diego like I did, any of your teams winning a championship is a dream come true. I mean, even our football team moved away, which isn't bad because they're closer to me now, but still not the point. But, and to each their own. I'm just making suggestions. This is just my perspective. And it's my perspective from the place of, why are we not celebrating everything? I know some people say, yeah, but if you celebrate everything, it takes the fun out of the bigger things. But no, it doesn't, because that's something different. That's something so different. I mean, I know a billion years ago when my favorite hockey team won the first Stanley Cup, and by the way, the first one in the state. It was like having an out-of-body experience. It wasn't my experience, it was for them. But as a fan, I got to share in that, and I got to see it because they did it at home. And it was like, wow, this is amazing. Let's go celebrate. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. It was exciting. It was exciting. And, I had the opportunity to actually go and celebrate with, in the private tent because of older sibling and somebody she knew. And I thought, no. And you know why? And when I really think back to that moment, I think, was it because it wasn't my moment? Or was it because I was too shy? Or was it because, I was afraid of stepping out of my comfort zone? And that was a missed opportunity. And I can't get that back. Sometimes we have to learn to say yes when we're uncomfortable. And I don't mean into bad situations, but I mean if someone says, hey, so-and-so, you guys, I got a pass in here. You want to come with me? Yeah, let's do this. I had to learn to follow older siblings' lead. Older sibling, she just goes for it. I mean, this is the same girl who almost ended up on the team bus in the parade when the Angels won the World Series. This girl. But, cause she's just like, just follow my lead and just, pretend like you belong here, but the thing is, we shouldn't have to pretend. I mean, yeah, we obviously in certain situations, when it's family only and you're not a family member or friend, you really have to do pretend. But the point is that are we pretending in our own lives? Are we missing out on wonderful things happening around us because we're waiting for that bigger moment? We're waiting for that, that moment that just feels like it's going to knock us off our feet. And we really have to stop and ask ourselves that. What are we pushing aside? What are we waiting for? Are we waiting for something because, are we afraid to jump in feet first into something because we're afraid it's going to take us away from our path? If something's meant for you, it's not going to take you off your path. If something's meant for you, it will be in your life and it will figure out how to compromise in your life. And I say it because it could be a myriad of things. It could be people, it could be friends, it could be relationships, it could be whatever. If it's meant to be in your life, it will be there along your path, and they will be there along your path. Wait, did I say that? Along their path and your path. That's what I meant. So, it's like a teamwork. It's like a team. It's literally like a team. Teamwork makes the dream work, right? I know somebody who's in a bit of a precarious situation in their own relationship, due to some restrictions on, well, it's kind of hard to like just put this into words because it's not my story. But let me put it this way. I know somebody who is in a precarious situation, or not a precarious situation, but in a difficult situation for a little bit because of a restriction put on somebody that they're in a relationship with. And it's not a bad thing, but they figured they have a workaround. They have a workaround and they've been making it work. And at first they're like, crap, what are we going to do? But then they figured out how to make it work. And the restriction doesn't last forever, right? Just like whatever path you're on doesn't last forever. I mean, the bad things. And it's better to have someone with you than continually having to do it alone. Because you're afraid to reach out. You're afraid to start something. You're afraid to, dip your toes in whatever it is that you're afraid to dip your toes in. Again, sometimes we have to get comfortable being uncomfortable in order to find what is meant for us in our lives. How many things are we missing? See, if you watched the show, you would say, geez, but she has so many things to be passionate about. She has so many things to be excited about. She has so many opportunities that, could be there. But she was waiting for that big bang. She was waiting for that big kaboom. That big thing that just, knocks you off your feet. But lots of things can knock us off our feet. Again, like I said, I may not have won the game. But when my team did, it felt like I did. Okay? And when, you see them hoisting the Stanley Cup and you're just like, wow. I grew up in a town where we came this close a lot of times, where a legend of baseball never got a World Series because he was so committed to this one team and being a one team guy. And, you get close and then you hope and you're just like, oh. And so when it finally happens, you're just like, wow, holy crap. Is this what it feels like to feel like other people in other cities that win all the time? It felt amazing. It felt great. And again, I didn't have anything to do with it. I was just sitting in the stands cheering them on, which I still think were like the last, I still think fans are part of the team. When we're nice. I'm not a mean fan. I can't bring myself to boo people. It just doesn't feel right. But, because, there's one thing that was pointed out to me. We get mad because we sit there and we're like, well, I paid and I didn't pay to see this crap. And it's like, well, nobody told you had to go. Nobody said, hey, you know what? Go pay to watch a losing team. No, that's your choice. So you make your choice. And, it's like betting. It's like on the stock market, right? Or it's like betting in a race. It's like betting on a horse race. You don't know if your horse is going to win. You're making a choice. And that's your choice and you got to live with it. But when it does pay dividends, when that horse does cross that finish line, you're like, wow, that was amazing. That felt great. And sure, it might be somebody else's, achievement, but you get to share in that. And you can be passionate about that. I mean, look at all the people that are passionate about sports. I'm passionate about sports. I'm passionate about my teams. My hockey team, my baseball teams. I know I have two, one in each league. But one that's my top, and that's my hometown, my football team. Even though they're not where they started, well, actually they are where they started, but not where they were for a long time. They're still my team, and I get passionate about it. Sometimes I get mad, but everybody can armchair quarterback, right? Everybody can be an armchair goalie, but but there's so much joy to be had now. There's so much that we can be excited about now. There's so much that we can live for now, that we can breathe for now. If we open our eyes and open our hearts and open our minds to lots of different things. One of my thoughts on here was, is it fear? Maybe if we enjoy now, we might, wait, what? Okay, I'm not even sure what I meant when I wrote this. Sorry for the quiet thing there, but I just said maybe if we enjoy something now. Oh, I see. Fear. Fear is what if we enjoy something now and we miss out on something bigger? But what if we enjoy something now and it brings us to that special thing or moment? Right? We don't know what's going to happen. And the one thing I am completely sure on in this life, if it is meant for you, it's going to find you. No matter how many obstacles that thing may put up in front of it. Eventually it's going to come your way. You just have to have faith. You have to have trust. And faith and trust, to me, they're the same thing. Having faith is having trust. Same amount of letters. Yeah, I had to double check that. my brain today. This is why we didn't do a show yesterday, because like, yeah, nothing was coming out of that brain. But think about it. Is it fear that's holding us back? If we're passionate about this, what if we miss this? You know, people will sit there and hem and haw. Yeah, I don't want to go. I mean, we'll use Comic-Con for an example, right? Yeah, I don't want to go with you. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. But what happens if you go and you meet somebody, and it not necessarily in a relationship, but you might meet somebody who's just as passionate about one thing that you might be, and you're like, oh my gosh, I have a new friend. I have a new pal. I have a new this, that, or the other. Or you might meet your person. Who knows? You know, you never know what's going to happen. I mean, Comic-Con is just an example, but you don't know that you haven't met your person there. Maybe you met them and they went away and you might meet up with them again. Who knows? Life is just all over the place. But when we trust, when we have that faith, we have the opportunity to really, really jump in and just enjoy everything in the now. Just enjoy life. You know, my last thought was to just be present in this moment. Be present in this moment. We miss things when we just, you know, become complacent, when we just become sedentary, when we become just basically like we're trying to fit in with the wall. You know, like I just want to stand here and, you know, blend in to the wall. Like nobody can see me, nobody can do this. I'll be an observer. I like to observe a lot. I do like to people watch a lot. People are interesting, and as a writer, I just find, you know, just the quirks and the different things very fascinating. And that's anybody. I mean, it's one of the things I love about shows, TV shows, you know, and or movies, when you just get to see, because, you know, especially with actors, right? They all carry one or two specific traits they will bring into every show, and it's kind of like that's their thing. That's their thing. And I knew that, or when I was in drama, when I was taking drama for my short drama career, I would bring in my own little quirks, and I didn't mean to. It just, but you know, when I think back on it now, I realize it's because you're making something your own. I mean, think of all the different movies that have been made, right? Like there have been like a bazillion Little Women's, but each one is significantly different than the other. It's the same story, but everybody brings something different to that. So when we try to figure out how to be passionate about something, bring your own brand of you to this thing. You know, bring your own brand of you to, you know, maybe you're being invited to a party and you're like, God, I'm going for moral support. I really don't want to be here. But you might become the life of the party. You never know what's going to happen. You don't know. People may just migrate to you, and you may be holding court. Because maybe you're going to bring something. Sorry. I don't know what's happening. I'm getting an echo now. But anyways, so sorry. I had to leave my door open because I have my cat in here and she freaks out if I close it and she's in here. So, but anyways, let me catch myself here. Okay. So, you know, like I said, this is just, you get what you get. All right. A little bit of something, a whole lot of everything. But, I think the most important thing that we need to do is to remember one thing. Life is meant to be enjoyed. It's not just meant to be a spectator in it. It's not meant to just observe other people living it. It's not meant to sit on the couch all day and watch TV. It's meant to get out there, be a part of this world, and create your own joy, create your own passions. You know, if you can't find something to be passionate about, or you think you can't find something to be passionate about, think about, maybe you do have a cat or a dog or a fish or whatever. You know, maybe you're a plant person. You know, I know people that, wow, they started off with one or two plants and it's like they have a whole jungle now. But that's what they're passionate about. That's what brings them joy. And sometimes people don't see that. They just say, yeah, I'm a plant parent. Or I'm a pet mom or dad. A pet person. A fur baby. My fur babies. And, sometimes I think we don't realize that some of the things we're passionate about are literally just staring us in the face. Maybe you love to journal. That could be a passionate thing. Oh, speaking of, there she is. Hi, Boo. Oh, I was trying to get her to come over here so I could show you to her, but she left. Oh, hey, close the door on your way out. I'm just kidding. Although I wouldn't be surprised if she could. She is an amazing little kitten. Well, she's not a kitten, but she's my kitten. So anyways, I know I'm all over the place today, aren't I? It was like random ramblings, but, which is actually what this was almost called, random ramblings. But I thought about that, right? I thought about a little bit of something, a whole lot of everything, random ramblings. And I thought, you know what? We don't just have to talk about mental health and body positivity. We don't just have to advocate on the show. We can talk about all kinds of things. And my therapist reminded me, because I told her, I said, yeah, I do a live and I do this and I do that. She's like, what do you talk about? And I told her, and I said, but sometimes I go back over subjects because I'm not sure. And she's like, you know what? Talk about what brings you joy. And she's all, or what makes you happy, things that interest you. And she's all, if somebody watches, great. And she's all, maybe they'll watch and they'll be inspired by it. But she says, do it for you first and foremost. Don't do it for anybody else but you. And she says, sure, you want to help people. And she's all, and that's great. And you will, because you're sharing your story. You're putting yourself out there. You're advocating. You're opening yourself wide open to, not just to help people, but you're also opening yourself up to a little bit of scrutiny in a way. Because some people might say, well, I don't know why you're sharing all this, that, and the other. I share my story to help other people through theirs. But there's more to me than just this. I am very random sometimes. I am way out there. I mean, there are times when I'm just sitting in my chair and something sparks my, or something just flies into my head and I just start laughing. Like, literally, I look like so silly. Like, my sister will just look over from the other side of the room going, are you okay? And it's like, yeah, something just made me laugh. And then when she asks me if I'm okay, I start laughing even harder. And something that wasn't that funny is suddenly just hilarious for about 10 minutes because I can't stop laughing. But that's me. That's just how I am. And I think a lot of us are like that. But I think a lot of us hold back on who we are because we're afraid of that judgment, right? We're afraid of people looking at us and going, what is wrong with them? Who cares? What other people think about you is none of your business. It really isn't. I spent a good part of my life sheltering inside, being not, I don't want to say introverted, but I was like an introverted extrovert. I do like people, but I could be very shy, sometimes going back to Big Bang Theory, sometimes I feel like Raj has trouble talking to attractive women, and I struggle with sometimes with talking to men. And I don't know why. My mouth tries to open and it just doesn't. It just like, and then I sit there looking like an idiot trying to hold a conversation. So, but I'm working on that. I'm working on just saying, you know what? Who cares? All right, who cares? You're not here to do anything and then have a conversation. What happens after that? Maybe it'll be a good thing. Maybe it'll just be another conversation. You walk away. Who knows? But that's the glory of life. That's the joy of living. It's just being present in every single moment. It's not, if you walk up to some girl and say, oh my God, she's going to be the mother of my children. Or you walk up to some guy like, oh my God, he's going to be the father of my children. Just enjoy the moment. Just sit in this moment. Don't think, a couple years ahead from now. Don't plan your future while you're just meeting somebody. Sometimes I think you just know, sometimes and you just know if that's your person. But in any situation, just walk into it and enjoy it. Just feel it, be in the moment. Allow yourself to to sit there and go, wow, you know what, this is a great conversation. I've had a lot of interesting conversations with a lot of different people. And, and sometimes I've never seen these people again. But they still stick in my head. Like, oh yeah, I remember. Like I said, there was a time at Comic-Con. I know this is all about Comic-Con for some reason, but there was a time at Comic-Con where older sibling and I were waiting in line for something, and there were these kids behind us, these teenage guys behind us, and I mean, that was one of the best conversations I ever heard, and I'm still hearing it. Oh, I know. They had this is quite a few years ago. They had the Dark Knight Rises vehicles on display at Comic-Con back over by the hotel on the other side of the con. And I wanted to see it because I mean I love the Christian Bale Batman series, and it was just kind of cool to see all the stuff sitting out there and get pictures of it. And they start having a conversation. And so one of the main vehicles that Batman drives in the very first one isn't quite a Batmobile, it's the Tumbler. And so they were like, so their conversation starts with, would you ever want to own one of those? And it's a valid question, right? You're sitting there asking your friends. I mean, these kids couldn't have been more than 15 or 16. And they're all like, well, one guy says, oh yeah, they all say yes. And I'm sitting in my head going, oh yeah, that'd be totally cool. Then one of them poses the question, or actually says, would you want one of these and would you drive it everywhere? And one guy says, well, I would want one, but I don't think I would drive it everywhere. And the other one of them says, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, I'm trying to figure out the turn radius if I wanted to go to Taco Bell. So random. And I didn't mean to snort, and I did. And I told them, I just kind of turned around and I said, this is like the best conversation I have heard all day. And I said, I just need to know how this finishes. But they kind of chuckled like, oh, like somebody's listening. But what was funny is they literally sat there and talked about that 5 more minutes. Well, would it be able to do this? Would you break the curb if you tried to go around? Some of those drive-throughs are pretty tight. And it's like, well, I guess I'd have to find a drive-through that had a bigger drive-through. Or I just have to actually get out and go in. And they're all, yeah, but we don't want to do that, right? How many of us don't want to go in? We just want to go through the drive-through. So they had this whole conversation on why it would be a great thing to have, but not functional in real life. And I just thought, you know what? This is the kind of random stuff that we should get excited about, that we should get passionate about. I mean, we're talking about something that is not a reality. I mean, the opportunity of any of us to own a tumbler. Actually, that's not true. You never know. Someone might. But what if they have that conversation? What if these kids 10 years from now have the opportunity to, well, actually it is about 10 years later from when we had this conversation. And, oh God, what if they had an opportunity now as adults? I know, right? As adults to have one. I wonder if they'd go back to that conversation. Yeah, well, it'd be functional, so I guess it wouldn't be that functional. So I guess I would just be able to use it it'd be fun to use it on the freeway and just drive over cars. But, no, don't, because it would crush them. It's like a mini tank in its own way. But yeah, it's these little things that we hear, right? These little conversations that just stick in our mind. This is like, 10 years later, 11 years later. And it's still in my head. Because it was funny. And that's what being passionate about something is. They weren't necessarily passionate about the Tumblr, but they were passionate about their comics. They were passionate about their movies. They were passionate about the things that they enjoyed. A lot of times, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've been called a nerd and a geek before it was cool. And it used to hurt me. And it doesn't anymore. And I'll tell you why. Because, again, what other people think of us is none of our business. Maybe they're jealous subconsciously or consciously because you are passionate about something. Maybe they're going along with the crowd. Maybe they actually really like this, but they're afraid to, say anything in front of their friends because they don't want to be made fun of. I let go of that a long time ago. The one thing that I have been very fortunate in my life is that I have always been kind of a not a black sheep like we would call it, like, oh yeah, that's the troubled one. I was always I was a black sheep in my family, but it was always encouraged. It's great that you're different. It's great that you're this. It's great that you think all these other different things, that your mind just goes into, all these other places. And I don't know if it's because I have a writer's mind and it's just constantly, or, maybe it's a little bit of my dinged up mental health, or where it's just constantly going and going and going in there. There could be a variety of reasons why my brain is the way it is. Why it just, gets so random at times, just fires off random things. But we should embrace that. We should be passionate about that. We should enjoy where we are in this moment, not worry about what other people think, not try to impress our friends. If they're your friends, you don't need to impress them. You might from time to time, just because you might be super cool, but don't they impress you? Would you get mad at them if, they impressed you with something amazing that they did? Would you make fun of them if they said something that you don't like, or you don't think it's not in your wheelhouse? No, you just be like, oh, hey, that's pretty cool. I'm glad you had that experience. That's what friends do. They support one another. That's what people in relationships are supposed to do, and in friendships are supposed to do, and in familial, relationships are supposed to do. They're supposed to support one another. They're supposed to be kind to one another. They're supposed to encourage each other. I mean, if you walk around and all of you have the same thought, no one's going to grow. But if you have the same thought and you come up with different ways to think it, you're growing. There are times when, so I'm going to give another example before I go. I partake in adult beverages from time to time. And I love white wine. I had to stop drinking red wine because it gave me heartburn like years and years ago. But I do occasionally like the red wine, but I love white wine. And that's kind of, a lot of my family members also do. Hey, Shelly, you want wine? Blah, blah, blah. But every so often, I'll break out my Guinness, because that is my drink of choice. That's right. I feed the Irish side of me. Yes, I have Irish blood. It comes from my father's side. All this is 5% of my dad and 50% of my mother. So all the Asian-y looking Filipino stuff, and Hawaiian. I do have Hawaiian in there. But my dad's a little Hawaiian, a lot of European and British. But I love my Guinness. I love my Guinness. And I can sit down at a table, and to this day, I've been drinking this stuff for like 20 years. To this day, my father will sit there and go, how can you drink that crap? And I'm all like, he's the Irish one. But it's like, he likes his see-through beer. Whatever. He likes his see-through beer, which isn't bad. But you sit down and it's like, I've known people who will just drink whatever is there because they don't want to seem different. They don't want to feel different. I embrace that shit. Okay. I come with my own Guinness to a party. And because I know that, it's what I can handle. It's what I can drink. And I don't want to get shit-faced in front of a bunch of people. You just want to sit there and enjoy yourself. And it's something that tastes good cold and warm. Technically, it's supposed to be warm, I think. But they taste good both ways. So, but I remember. But now, finally, one day, because I used to be like, you know what? Leave my beer alone. Leave my beer alone. Leave my beer alone. And not too long ago, we were chuckling, because my dad will buy it. He's like, do you want me to buy you some Guinness? Like, if he has a little party and, I come down to visit. And it's like, yeah. And he has some of my cousins over, like maybe Christmas or something. And I bought myself a Guinness glass for Christmas. Okay, it's etched with my name and everything. And I started pouring it, and he did it again. He's like, how can you drink that crap? And I'm like, I am drinking a real stout. All right. Not your little piddly beer. And he just started laughing. He's all like, and he has not said it to me since, because I finally defended what I enjoy. And I don't think he was saying it for anything other than, to get a rise out of me. Just to say, because he has tried it, and it's too much. But this is also a guy who spent a couple of years in Germany, and He could probably drink me under a table if it came to German beer, because that's pretty strong stuff there. But yeah, so don't let anybody shame you. And he wasn't really trying to shame me. I think he was just kind of like, wow, like the only people I've ever seen drink Guinness is a man. No peeps, girls like it too, but I do. I don't know what it is about it. Just it brings me joy. On those days when you're out partying with friends or drinking with friends, it's like, yeah. The only sucky part is, though, is that nowadays most bars are just carrying it in cans. It's rare to find it on draft, which sucks. But, can't have everything, right? So now I'm definitely getting random. Anyways, the whole point of this conversation, find your passion about something, find your joy. Celebrate every moment, celebrate every little thing. See, some people think that if you celebrate every little thing, you're going to miss the big things. You're not going to find as much joy in the big things, but you will. You will. Maybe you're in a committed relationship, right? Well, we'll go this route. Maybe you find yourself in a committed relationship and you get excited. You get super excited. You're like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Maybe this committed relationship leads to marriage. Now, when you first started the relationship, you were excited, you were celebrating, you were joyful, ecstatic, but that's not going to take away from your commitment to somebody later down the road when you're walking down the aisle. No, they're different levels of joy. There's different levels of celebrations. When a person gets nominated, they get excited, right? When they get nominated for something for their work, it's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And they celebrate in that moment. I can't believe I was nominated. But if they win, that doesn't take away the joy. It's just like, holy crap, you're like on a whole new level. You've just reached a whole new level, and you're just kind of like, wow. But what if you got nominated and you didn't win, and you didn't celebrate your nomination? You've stolen that from yourself. You've stolen that joy from yourself. I mean, obviously, only one person can win, but the fact that you were chosen out of so many people and put into that category, that is something to celebrate. Even if you're not nominated, say that is your field. You get into the field that you want to get into. Celebrate that, because it's exciting for you. It's something that you want. It's something that, you get excited about. I am not good at sharing my stories, but I shared a story with a friend of mine a couple of months ago, and it was really it's a short story. It was very cathartic for me to write it. And she replied with, wow. She's all, this must have been very cathartic for you. It's like, yeah, it was. And she's all, I really, really like it. And I celebrated in that moment because I get nervous. I literally have George McFly syndrome. Just sharing my stuff makes me so nervous because I don't expect everyone to like it. And, there have been things that I've written that some people didn't like. And so I just figured, well, this person didn't like it, so that person probably won't like it. And so I never shared it. I just write for myself, basically, which is stupid because I have some really good ideas. And some of my ideas have already landed in other people's brains. So, I feel like my spirit guide just said, forget it, I'm giving it to someone else. So, jump on the things that you need to jump on. Jump on the situations and be joyful about certain things. Be joyful about everything, really. Find excitement in the day. There are people who struggle to get out of bed. Be excited about getting out of bed. No one says you have to pop open a bottle of champagne to celebrate it. But be excited that you're alive. Be excited that, you have that strength to do what some people struggle to do. Be grateful. I guess when it comes down to it, it's really all about gratitude. And showing that gratitude for your life. Showing that gratitude for the path that you're on. The life that you're living. If it feels mundane, find something to be excited about. Be passionate about something. There's always something out there that we can be passionate about. Maybe you love a TV show. Find a group. Be passionate with a bunch of other people about the same thing you love. And you never know where that's going to lead you. Let me put it this way. I talk about older sibling a lot. She is my soul sister. She's my best friend. And, excuse me, she has become like an older sister to me. If I would have just not become passionate about hockey all those years ago, I would not know her. because that's where I met her. But I had moved up here far away from my family. I only knew one or two people. And I was like, I really want to meet more people. I need to step out of my comfort zone and make more friends. And so I joined a chat group. And out of that chat group, I have friends that now live in England. They moved, well, one of them moved back and brought his family with him. I have my two friends that live in England. I have older sibling. I've met people in Switzerland that I became friends with and got to meet in person. You know, I mean, there's just so many different things. I joined another group. Right now, I think all my friends live in England. And the majority of them do live in England, but from this one group. But it's like I've known them forever. You know, I joined another chat group for fans of somebody. And I met one of my best friends on there. And I've known her for like 20 years now. 20 years. But I've also, a friend of mine who just had his big birthday a couple days ago. We were talking. I'm like, holy crap. Do you realize we've known each other for like 22 years? And I met that person through hockey. I became passionate about something. And so I engaged. And it was really stepping out of my comfort zone. Really stepping out of my comfort zone. But I had to push myself. And when I did, the whole world, it you know, opened up for me. I can't imagine my life without older sibling. No matter where I go in this world, I know she's always going to be there, and she knows I'll always be there for her. We're both only children, so finding her has been a delightful experience. And I wouldn't change a thing, because, you know, there are people that are meant to be in your life. But sometimes I think, what if? What if I hadn't dated that person and moved up here? What if we hadn't broken up and I moved on to the next guy who got me, you know, it's like I always liked my team, but I became passionate about my team after my very first live game. And after I became passionate about that, it's like my love for hockey outlived both of those relationships. But it was a path. It was a path. And because I kept pushing myself out of my comfort zone and finding that path, I'm where I'm at now. I've healed a lot. I've been through my journey. I'm able to see it through different eyes now. I don't worry about my age anymore. I'm learning how to be more positive about my body as I get healthier. And for that, because, you know, long story, but we never know where our passions are going to lead us. So step out of that comfort zone. You know, don't worry about what's going to happen tomorrow. Just focus on what's happening today. Okay? So I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. I'll see everybody back here tomorrow if you're into the Oracle Friday, or Monday if you're not. Monday will be Monday mindfulness or Monday musings. Still haven't really settled on anything yet. But tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Pacific time. That's California time. Facebook Live. All lives are public. You can follow me under Shelly Marie Lucas, or you can find it under Shelly Marie Lucas for the Facebook Live if you'd like to join, especially for Oracle Friday. If you're into that and you'd like to join for Oracle Friday, please come on in. We can see what we can do. You know, if you have a question, I'll pull a card for you. But again, like I said, if that's not your thing, I will see you Monday. But if I don't see you till Monday, have a great, great weekend. Please take care of yourselves. Be safe. Be sound. Find your passion. You know, maybe write some things down. What are your interests? You know, join groups. Maybe reach out to people that you haven't seen in a while. Go out for a drink, or go out, you know, just for a little chat or lunch or a walk, whatever. Coffee. I love coffee. So, yeah. And if you want to see replays of these, I do share it to the Aloha Perspective Facebook page and to my YouTube page, the Aloha Perspective. If you follow me on social media, you will probably find me there too. And on TikTok, on TikTok, I do a daily affirmation Monday through Friday. So again, have a wonderful, wonderful day, everybody. Hopefully my brain will be a little more back in order tomorrow. But, you know, I'm not going to lie. This was kind of fun watching to see the path my brain went on today. So, like I said, that has nothing to do with having a dinged up mental health. That has everything to do with the fact that I am very random and thoughts just hit me. They ping off my brain from anywhere. So have a great, great day. And I will see everybody tomorrow or Monday. Thank you for watching.